Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again.
Yep, I know you do it on purpose. There we go.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, everybody.
How's everybody doing?
Hey.
Happy Mother's Day.
Not y'all. Well, maybe Spencer.
What? Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Does Misty, does today count for Mr. Moms?
Yes, 100%.
Hey, I'll take it. I am a Mr. Mom.
You're the most Mr. Mommiest dude I've ever met.
Whatever.
You're a good dude. I ain't gonna lie.
I'm telling you.
I help around the house and I help homeschool the girls. And just yesterday, I spent almost all day at the girls, not just me, Jamie too, my wife, at the girls' dance recital. And that was all day thing because we had to go at 10 o'clock in the morning to like 12:30 or something like that. And then 6 to 9 at night. And that's a lot to just sit through a dance recital thing for everybody. But
I don't miss those days. I'm telling you.
Are they doing like ballet type dancing or what?
They do a mix. They do like ballet and what they call clogging, which it is kind of like hip hop with tap shoes or something like that. But
really?
They do all kinds of stuff. It's crazy.
Please, tell me that you're out there in the crowd at some point going, baby, show my little thing Daddy taught you.
No, Daddy don't teach him anything. Now we dance. I got plenty of video of us dancing in the kitchen and everything, but there ain't no tap ballet jazz thing.
Yeah. That's funny.
Amory, you got to jump higher, baby. You got to jump.
Do it like Daddy showed you.
Yeah. Do like I did.
Point your toes now, honey.
Baby, they didn't call Daddy Twinkle Toes high school for no reason.
Little bit more with your hips, honey. A little bit more.
Yeah.
Sashay, sway. No.
All right.
Anyway,
All right. If you ain't giving us an example, we're done.
I'm telling you.
This is getting out of control.
He just said there's video. There's video out there. Why ain't
Dude, he ain't going to shower.
There's video of the girls.
Oh, yeah.
No, there's video of me dancing with them in the kitchen. I put that on Facebook. I don't care. We dance in this kitchen. In this kitchen, we play music when we cook, and we dance around the kitchen. I got 2 girls. I'm a girl dad. That's required. You're going to have to dance and play silly games and all that kind of stuff. That's what you do when you got daughters.
Please tell me you drew the line at putting on tights.
I ain't ever put on a pair of tights.
That he's going to admit to.
No.
I ain't.
You liar.
Look at him.
Oh, I ain't ever put on a pair of tights. Swear to God.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Hey, we're starting a show. We're live right now. This is not the backstage thing. What are you doing?
Hey, look.
We got almost 50.
Sorry, y'all.
We got almost 50 people watching right now, and we got 2 impressive women backstage, and y'all are blah, blah, blah about Spence in tights. Shut up.
Bring them out, Spencer. You won't hush long enough.
When have we ever started a show? Look, it's cardinal rule. We got to put a smile on their face before we.
Okay. Look, hold on. If everybody's going to start bashing and everything, we might as well bring everybody out. So, y'all, please welcome a couple of my favorite people, the Sisters of the Moon.
There they are.
Hey,
Miss
ladies.
Debbie Porch. I'm going to keep calling her Debi Jones, but Debbie Porch and Barbara Lockett. Love these people. And I'm going to keep putting them on YouTube until everybody like gets on their Facebook page and is like a big fan and everything.
Yeah.
Because they're awesome and they're braver than a lot of guys out there. Anyway, ladies, happy Mother's Day. How are y'all?
Thank you.
Debbie can't hear you again.
Oh, well.
Okay.
She's laid back too far, I think.
Maybe.
What about now?
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay, I'll lean up some.
Okay. All
I was
right.
all comfy in my big old chair.
Yeah.
There's almost an echo in there. Barbara, you okay?
I'm
Did you turn the camera off because you're freezing up?
Yeah, I did. I was buffering.
Okay.
The internet's not
Well,
good.
So for everybody,
Debbie.
say something, Debbie.
Testing.
Too low. Okay.
Testing.
Sorry.
There,
There you go.
I stood up real close.
I don't know. I'm sorry, darling. Something's wrong with the microphone.
you
Can't
know,
hardly hear you.
you know what?
I got
Need a
wild.
new-
She's got into that. She's into that porch laid back mode now. She's like,
She's been around. She's been around Larry too damn long.
yes, he's rubbed off.
All we got to do is start talking about boogers, though, and she'll get excited and lean forward and start using her hands and be all exuberant and everything.
Yeah.
And she'll get loud on her own. It's okay. This will work.
You know me too well.
I know that you get excited about boogers and start
I
talking
do.
with your hands and get loud.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Spencer, before we go into quizzing them a lot, we're gonna have some people on here. As much as Debbie and Barbara's been around, they're still gonna be. Some of them probably don't even know who they are or any kind of background.
Yeah.
Before
So
we dive into it, at least let them touch on what got them into it, how long they've been doing this, and kind of what they do.
well, we've had them on before. If you have been watching Sawdust Beast for years, you've definitely seen them. You've seen them on God Rest, Carrie Arnold. You've seen them on Bigfoot Odyssey. They've been on other things. They've done what do you call those things? The conferences, what do you call the things? The things that we avoid, the symposium things. I forget what conferences.
yeah.
But
But
anyway.
symposium thing.
Yeah. But point being, they've been around for a while. So Debbie, Barbara, make it short, but take it from the get-go of how you all got into it and start everything over again, and then we'll go on to the killing field.
Go, Barbara.
Well, you want me to go?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I was probably about 11 years old when the Patty film was made. And I guess I probably wasn't much older than that when I saw it on TV for the first time. And I'd always been interested. And it's like, man, there's Bigfoot. But, I'm thinking, I'm a child. I lived in Georgia. That's where I grew up, Georgia. And I'm thinking, well, they're out in Washington. I'm never going to see one. Well,
Oh, she froze up.
Uh-oh.
I want to tap the screen.
Barbara, are you there? Barbara, kill the camera and just talk, Lynn.
hey, did y'all
Hey.
lose me?
Yeah.
You did.
Every
I
second,
thought you did.
every second that you were gone.
Oh. Well, anyway, I was dating when The Legend of Boggy Creek came out. So there's Bigfoot in my head again. Well, about 2003, I'm going to say, Sandy and I started getting interested in Bigfoot again, because she heard something at her house, and we started investigating on the internet. So we were interested in them too. In 2005, I moved into my home in Texas, and I was having Bigfoot activity at my house. I had it there 17 years. I lived there, and I played with them. We played sticks together. They would bring me presents. In 2016, I met Debi. We kind of formed our little group through 2016. The first outing was in January of 2017 at the Killing Fields. And that started our Bigfoot career.
And I will say for everybody, just so you know, Barbara had some really impressive, what we would call glyphs left for her.
Yes.
And they're pretty impressive.
They
Debi,
are.
How'd you get into the whole thing? How'd you start Sisters of the Moon? Lean forward. Lean forward.
Moon, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I got it turned up as loud as it'll go, I think.
That might be part of the problem. Turn it down. Turn it down a little bit.
Let's see.
Because it's... No, don't turn...
I don't know how to get into it.
We should have had a practice for this show.
We shouldn't have to. Debi has been doing this for 10 years now.
Well, I haven't done it in a long time.
There you go. That sounds really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll leave it there. Well, I lived in a little podunk, hole in the ground place called Malta, Texas, northeast Texas, and we were about 40 miles from Falk, Arkansas, I guess, as the crow flies. And when I was a kid, we had some really strange stuff happen on our property. And we had heard of the Falk monster because of Falk, Arkansas. That's just what we called it. But we had never heard anything about a Bigfoot or what a Bigfoot was or anything like that. We just knew about the Falk monster. And so we didn't know if the Falk monster had come down there to become the Malta monster. But we had some really strange things happen there. And looking back now, I know what it was because it's all exactly the same as what everyone's experiencing now with Bigfoot.
Right.
But as soon as I got a computer, when they created the computers and decided to sell them to the public, and you could do searches, I started searching about the sounds I had heard and everything. And that's when I first really started hearing the term Bigfoot used. And I told my daddy, I got on his computer at his house one day and played some sounds for him. And he was like, yep, that's what we heard. And so finally 2 and 2 were put together and my obsession with Bigfoot began, And so pretty much kind of all my life, I just didn't know what a Bigfoot was back then because, I'm from the caveman era.
So badly I want to go into the fact that she's still from the caveman era and doesn't know how to clip audio and send it and everything. But anyway, so okay, now that they said all that, you can go back and you can find quite a bit of video about Sisters of the Moon, almost like from the beginning to where they are now. They go everywhere. Y'all, where all has Sisters of the Moon investigated? How many places have y'all looked for boogers?
I couldn't count them probably. But we've been from one ocean to the other.
I know it. I know it.
Yeah.
And we hope to go a whole lot more places.
Yeah, we hope we're not done yet.
But yeah, we've been to several states and we have been across America. And this September, Barbara and I have been talking about going on a road trip and just hitting a lot of different states over in the southeast and maybe even up to Ohio. Who knows?
Hey, if you're going to go up there, you got to come by my way.
Well, we'll just hit all of y'all.
Okay.
You know, we're just planning on doing a road trip.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been up to what? You've been up to Oregon, right?
And Washington.
And Washington.
Yeah.
Did you ever do California? Have you done California?
No.
We haven't Bigfooted in California. I've been to California.
Yeah, I have
But-
too, but I've
but-
never Bigfoot.
But Oregon, Washington for sure, Oklahoma, Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas,
Louisiana,
Tennessee.
what?
Tennessee.
Missouri, Mississippi.
No,
I don't think we've done Missouri or Mississippi.
we were close to
Okay.
Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Have y'all ever been to Alabama?
Oh, I have been to Mississippi, Larry. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. That was
no. That
but
doesn't
not
count.
Sisters of the Moon.
Larry, hold on. Larry Porch being in the background chiming in is not going to work. He can get his ass in the chat and chime in, or he can
His
lean
hair
in the
is just
video.
like he just got out of bed. He's been playing video.
Put a hat on. He's been playing video games all day. We all know that. We don't care.
I got a question. What kind of video game is he playing?
Escape from Tarkov.
That's above my pay grade. I don't know what that is.
Is that a Russian prison? Markov?
He's not giving any more interviews.
Oh, boy.
Porch is trying to retire. He's like trying to be out of the Bigfoot world.
He's
Whatever.
still in his pajamas.
Oh,
whatever.
gosh.
Please tell me they
And
got
don't
Scooby
feel bad,
Doo
I
on.
do too some days.
Well, anyway, so y'all, some of the more spectacular things I've seen from Sisters of the Moon, and for everybody that doesn't know, it is a all-female group. They get like crazy results. They go out in the middle of nowhere, way out by themselves, and camp, just a group of women. Tell them about some of the stuff that y'all do whenever you go out, like your methods, like hanging the twinkle lights and the singing and all that. Tell them stuff like that.
Go ahead, Debbie.
Okay.
Well, okay. We try to sleep together in one tent. It's me, Sandy, and Debbie, and we usually set up one tip. and we'll
Sometimes
have a
Stephanie.
Sometimes
Yes.
Stephanie, that's true. And we hang twinkle lights out because you'd be surprised at the shadows that can get thrown on your tent. And we do play music.
Uh-oh.
We play upbeat
freezing up,
music.
Barbara.
Camping.
But
We just act like we're camping.
right.
We're not researching, we're camping.
And we don't act like we're there for Bigfoot. We don't
Yeah.
do calls or anything. At least when we're in camp, we'd never do calls in camp.
But
We don't know what it means when what we're singing out there.
But hold on. It's not like you just go camping at a campground.
No,
You actually look okay. Well, you got to tell
No.
people this, Debbie.
Barbara
you
was
act-
talking.
You actually find locations. That's how we're going to go into the killing field thing. So stick with me, people. You actually find locations that look right for what you're looking for, and then you camp out there. So you're not just camping at a campground. You're camping out in the middle of the dang woods, just a bunch of y'all, and then you go about camping like you're just campers, right?
That's right.
Now, how are you finding the location?
Yeah.
How are you finding the locations?
Well, a lot of times we'll see where there's been some recent sightings, but then we also I ride around a whole lot, and I know Barbara does too because we both love it, and so we just go take a back road and see where we end up, and what it looks like a lot of times. And then if we see a spot we like, then we'll pin it on our maps, so, and we'll make sure we go back there. And
what are you looking for whenever you say you see a spot you like? Like, I mean, obviously you're thinking about going there looking for boogers. What is an indication to y'all that like, oh, that looks like a good spot? I've seen one of your spots and that's a good spot. How are you finding them? What sticks out to you?
Well, like with the area that we call Tribulation Bay, me and another girl were riding around one day, and we were just going down back roads in southeast Oklahoma. And we got way past some chicken houses, cows. There were some farms on down the road a good ways. And we just kept going until we got further and further away to where there wasn't any houses around. And ended up finding this location that we call Tribulation Bay, which is where the gibberish was recorded. There's water around. We like it when there's either streams or rivers or lakes, whatever the case may be, water around. The fact that there are some farms, in the vicinity, at least vicinity, that helps. But we like it when it's pretty heavily wooded, because we know that the places, especially looking back now at the places we've been where we've had the most activity, it's always been heavily wooded. And we think that they like that because it gives them some good cover, you know. And so we always try to do that too. And the wildlife, is active, and we just look for places like that.
Barbara, you got anything to add to that?
Well, we just like to be off by ourselves. We don't mind people maybe being in the area, but we don't like to camp with anybody, and we want to be as far away as we can. We do like to get out in the solitude, and we just check it out. If sometimes you just get a feeling like that's the spot you need to be in. That's where you want to go.
See, I was hoping somebody. Oh, don't start pointing now. Don't.
I was just going to say what she said right there. That's the key.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about, first of all, okay, guys, this stuff goes back years, and I hope that everybody that ends up watching this show, if you don't know Sisters of the Moon, if you don't know their history and everything that they've done and what they've gathered, like evidence-wise and everything, go back and look them up. They're on multiple Bigfoot channels and everything talking about this stuff. This is why I wanted to go back and touch on Tribulation Bay, which, hey, I ain't scared. I love the audio. The audio is awesome. And if you hear that audio, it's amazing on a spectrograph. And that's not a human being. And I don't care the drama that it causes on YouTube and on certain channels and everything. I will defend this all day long. But we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how they found the killing field and everything. But I want, and I know them a little bit, so I can give them some shit. But I want them to talk about hey, they got a feeling. So what do you mean by you're back there on the back roads and the area looks right and you got a feeling? Because y'all's success rate is pretty high. So I'm trying to learn this all-female group technique.
The female, I think, is the key. So you might miss out on a little bit of that, Spencer.
Oh, you had to say a little bit, right?
A little bit. Well, I mean, I'm sorry. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to be nice. But with the killing field, we were right. There were 3 of us at the time. And it was me and another girl named Henry. Well, Henry wasn't there. It was Carrie. And but anyway, we were driving down a dirt road. It was me, Carrie, and Patty. And driving way down this. I mean, it was an old timber road at one time, I'm sure. And it is nothing but woods for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. And we were just riding around trying to find a decent place to camp. And we pulled into this one area, and it was just a little area to pull into, and it was surrounded by trees. And there was a big pile that had grown up, and was covered in grass and had a little tree growing out of it. And Carrie had backed in. She had a big old dually type truck, and she had backed in, and I was in the back seat. And so she was just going to back in and turn around. And I turned around to look out the back window to make sure she wasn't going to bump into that big pile of dirt. And I saw this big pile of bones laying there. And I was like, wait a minute. Hold on a second. There's a bunch of bones out there. We could see a rib cage and everything. And so we got out and we were looking. And then we kind of started following bones. And there were just bones everywhere. We walked back and it opened up into this huge area, very heavily wooded. And it was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to use the right word, but it was like an inlet. There was water coming down and up in closer towards the front. And, but it was, I don't even know how many acres it was, but it wasn't huge, but it was at least what, Barbara, 3 acres, 5 acres, 10?
Probably 4.5, 5 acres.
Yeah.
19.
And
I don't think it was. No.
Yeah. But everywhere we walked through there, there'd be just bones.
What kind of bones was it? Deer bones, coyote bones, or what?
Deer bones. And the thing that really piqued our interest and made us think, okay, this is something. Because, your first thought when you see a ton of deer bones, you're going to think poachers or something, But they're going to take the antlers. And these were some good antlers on these deer. I mean, I don't even hunt, but I get to where if I see some good antlers, I want to take them just because I like having the stuff on my walls. Yeah. But there were several out there. And I mean, we had video where I'm even picking some up. We were all, picking up, took pictures of them, which I couldn't find them all, but there were just tons of antlers. And we're like, this is kind of weird. But also when we were picking up the bones to look at them, some of the leg bones had been snapped in two. That's what really caught our interest. And so we were like, okay, we're going to go on down a little ways and see if we can find a different place to camp, because we weren't really sure we wanted to camp in that spot at that time, at least. We ended up doing it a lot later. But that very first night, we were like, okay, we're going to go find a place where we can set up camp and investigate this place some more. So that's what we did.
How far away did you go to camp?
Maybe another couple of miles on down the road.
Yeah, at least a mile or two.
Yeah.
And we were closer down to where there was like a river area, big river.
Yeah.
And you could see the hills on the other side of it because, it's in southeast Oklahoma. And so we call them mountains, but they're not mountains. They're just great big hills.
Yeah.
Well, just so everybody gets a feel for what you're talking about, let me show some of the pictures. Now, she doesn't have all of the pictures. She didn't send me all the pictures. She has them, but Debbie has a hard time finding all the stuff and everything like that. But here's some of the pictures, y'all. And Debbie, you can just stop me if you want to explain any of these, and I'll pause it.
Okay.
Oh, wait, sorry. I forgot to get rid of the gap. What is that right there that we're looking at?
I think that was, I can't see it really good on the screen, but I think that was part of the jaw or something. Can you tell, Barbara?
Is it part of the spine?
I can't see it. It's so little on my screen. But
It's a bone of some kind. Okay. Going on.
Yeah, it's a bone.
See,
That's three goobers right there.
Debbie keeps all the pictures of stuff like that, but not all the pictures of the giant antlers everywhere and everything.
I've got them. I just don't know where they're at.
Is this an impression?
So many pictures. You would not believe how many pictures we have.
Yeah, and that was an impression of what looked like a possible print, and we couldn't confirm it was, but it looked like there was part of a heel back there. I mean, it was just massive, though.
How deep was it? I can tell that's down in the ground a little bit, but you can't really tell.
It was probably about at least 1.5 inches.
This stuff never shows up on like video and photos. It's just like the audio. The audio does not do justice.
No.
You know? Is this y'all pouring for that track, that cast?
No, that was a different one. We had that was on down the road a good ways, way back in, and we would try to cast things if we saw something that looked like it was a possible print, and that's what we were doing there. Because this place is freaking huge. I mean, it's thousands of acres. Now, this is in the location where we actually end up setting camp. And you can see I'm up on a pretty tall stool, and y'all might want to take a good look at this, because when we talk here in a little bit, we're going to talk about some chimes. And up there where the top of my hand is, I'm touching a nail that I think somebody had used as a deer camp probably before. And there was a nail in that tree. And so that's where I was thinking about running something, but then we decided to hang some chimes right there on that nail. But look how high up that is, okay? Now I was 5'9", and with my arm stretched out like that, I'm a good over 6 feet stretched out. And then that was a 2-step little stool. So we're up a good little over 8 feet where the chimes were hanging.
All right. Come on, now I got more. We don't care about the monster mark.
Yeah, that was in Georgia.
I would love to go see that. And here's some pictures of either Bigfoot, probably bear poop that they got like a pack of gum down beside or something like that.
I think that was probably Barbara's or somebody's ladder. But now, we got on a boat and went across the big river and decided we were going to.
This was not a big boat. It was a little teeny tiny fishing boat with a trolling motor on the back.
Yeah.
And we're across the river.
that right there.
4 of us.
If that is from a bear, which it looks like, if it is from a bear, it looks like it's from a pretty big bear. I mean, we got bear all over up here. It looks like it's from a pretty big bear.
The thing with that, Spencer, is there was and no pun intended, but there was a crap ton of this. I mean, there was either several bears or, I don't know. Okay. Now I found that just in the last few months out there at the killing field. And
really?
I'll go down there from time to time when I'm in that area. And so the last 2 times that I've gone down there, I have found a broken bone. And that bone, hold on just a second.
That looks like a cow bone.
Yeah.
Is that a cow bone?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
It damn sure looks like it.
Probably.
The nearest cows. The nearest cows, let's see, that one is that one, I think. But the nearest cow to this area is several miles away. And I do mean several miles away. I wouldn't hesitate to say 6 miles at
Probably.
least. At least.
Wow.
Now,
And then this is a different one that I found out there too. And
I'm gonna
the
go
inside
back.
had been scraped.
Oh, what? No way.
Yeah. But there's 2 separate ones. This one has been broken in 2.
Okay.
And the inside scraped.
The one that's on the screen right here.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's a cow and people that are bovine experts, Jeff Yarrington, you're in here. That looks like a 1 foot long femur bone from a cow. Maybe it's the lower, but it looks like the femur. It might be the front shoulder area, but either way, it's only 12 inches long. So I'm going to assume that this is not a full grown cow. I might be wrong on that. Need somebody else to weigh in on that. But I would say if it's a calf, how many times have you heard stories about these things snatching up calves and walking off with them? It looks like cow, doesn't look like horse, but again, I'm not an expert on this, but that looks like cow.
We assumed that they were cows. Now the one that's on the screen, which is this one, I gotta say this sucker is heavy.
You don't see any bite marks on it, do you?
You can see
That's what I was
on
going to
this
ask too.
Yeah, you can see them on this one for sure. And this one, like I said, it's been scraped out. This one, you can't see any bite marks. I looked because we thought maybe a coyote carried it. I don't know, but this is so freaking heavy. But there's no teeth marks around this part of the bone. And down in here, I don't see anything on this one. But this one, you can see some marks on the inside and on the edges down here.
I got to be honest, Haywood, I've never seen a wild hog skeleton, so that looks like a cow to me. I've seen a lot of cow remains. I've never seen a wild hog, so I don't know. You might be right.
And this one,
DB said cow femur also. Well, if it's a femur, y'all, and it's only 12 inches long, does that make it a calf or a full-grown cow?
this one here looks like something was broke there, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. We just thought they were interesting. We found them at 2 separate times. And
oh, wow. Look, damn. That was quick, Neoma. Thank you very much. She
What'd
said
it
a
say?
full-grown cow's femur is typically 13 inches long. So I guess that is right at full-grown size, if that's accurate. All right. Wow. Neoma is quick on that. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate that. I don't know. It's a big bone. All right. Let's move on to the other pictures. Debbie, you ever threaten Larry to knock him upside the head with that giant thing right there?
I'm surprised
That'd be a good
I
one.
picked it up and went, Captain Caveman.
That bone's been twisted.
Now that looks like a deer that's been
Is that-
snapped.
It's been snapped. That was in the killing field when we found it.
I've seen other bones that have been snapped almost completely in half with the marrow sucked out.
Thing about that bone, if you look at it, it nearly looks like to break it down at an angle like that, it was twisted.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least it was. Hold on, let's see if we can go back to it. Where is it?
You just go back the other way.
I mean,
Yeah.
a bullet may could have done that, but I don't know.
There's more back there behind it.
I don't know, but see how there is up there in the corner. But at that angle like that, it does, like Greg said, it looks like something sharp either hit it or snapped it, intentionally. It's not like running into a tree. And typically the stuff I've seen, I mean, that doesn't look like whenever coyotes chew on them. But that's just my opinion. All right. get to the end of this because there's not a lot of them, but just trying to give people a feel for what all you guys had there at the killing field. And I know that she used to have better pictures than this. I don't know. She didn't want to give them to us. She didn't want us to have the good pictures on this show. We can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me?
Kind of.
Let me just get up closer. How about now?
Yes, now we can hear you.
Okay. We had so many pictures. I mean, it's crazy. And I was excited when I found those last night, but I don't know where we put them, where they're at. I don't know if they ended up getting deleted or something, or if they were on an old computer I had. I don't know.
You got something going. Are you doing this on your phone? You got
No,
something.
I'm on my laptop.
Well, there's something wrong. Jiggle the cables on the microphone wire or something.
It's built in.
There microphone wire back in the damn 80s.
Yeah, really.
Well, I didn't know if she had an external microphone. I do. It would make sense. Why aren't you doing this on Larry's Get Up where it's all
Playing his game.
Oh my God!
there? We need a real YouTube show, and you're messing around.
He's in there playing Minecraft.
Can you hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
Larry has the new extended version of like Peppa Pig touring Europe or something.
Yeah.
Is there a place where it can turn the mic up and down? All I see is mute.
That's Mope.
She got something fragile.
Yes.
She got something going on. The microphone is getting ready to go out or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
I'm
Barbara,
sorry.
Barbara, did you see any of these bones?
I did, but I was not there for the first trip. I had to work that weekend, the very first trip, and I didn't go back. I didn't get to go until 2 weeks later. And we spent 2 or 3 different days, I think, going down to look at the bones then. And it was just deer bones everywhere. And like little.
You froze, Barbara.
Barbara froze. Can't hear Debbie half the time. This interview's going all to hell.
We're a professional bunch here.
Hey,
She is.
Men in black cutting in.
You'd think if we'd actually do our job right, we'd have checked this earlier.
We did check it.
It was
That's when I just shut up.
You ever been on Chris's show, Spencer, where he says, now Monday or let's say Thursday, we're going to do a sound check. And then we're going to do another one probably Saturday. And then we're going to do another one maybe Sunday, then Monday before you come on. Come on about an hour and let's make sure everything's right.
Right.
Yeah, that's for those professional people.
Yeah.
We are obviously, I think anybody that watches us knows we are not that degree of professionalism on this show. But
This is the way we approach our daily life. I ain't gonna
pretty much, we wing it.
Yes.
We wing it, and Greg and I work for ourselves.
There you go.
That's why we're successful. You got to doubt where we come.
So,
Yeah, there were bones everywhere.
so when you camp there at that location, what all happened? What all did you get? Did you get audio? Did you have a sighting? Did something mess with your camp? What all happened while you were at that location?
Debbie have to tell you about that night.
Well,
With the
I
audio.
want to preface the story with why we were out there in particular in this area. We had been invited to, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. We had been invited by this guy that is from North Texas, and he's a Bigfooter. And I do that because I know this guy.
I told
Well.
you if you get her going, she'll lean forward and start talking with her hands. I
There you
told
go. You leave her alone.
I don't want to knock the computer off, the laptop off. But so this guy had said that he was going to have a camp out. And I'm at Walmart the night before getting groceries for our camp out. And this guy calls me on the phone and he tells me, he's like, camp out's canceled. He said, my wife is sick. And so we're not going to go. I'm not going to go. And I said, well, who all's going to be there? And he goes, nobody. And so I said, well, I'm buying groceries right now and we'd like to go ahead and go, if that's all right. And he said, yeah, but he goes, it's just, we're not going to be doing it. Nobody's going to be there. And I'm like, well, that's fine. So I called the girls and asked them, he said it's canceled. Nobody's going to be there. Do y'all still want to go? I do. Do y'all? They said, yeah. So that's why we went in the first place. Now, the second day, after we had already found all the bones and went back, found a place to camp, set up camp, the second day, we're sitting in camp. Michael Humphreys of Killing Bigfoot Show, he lives up north of there, way north. And we're sitting in camp and he comes down the road and he is circling through. And I said something to one of the girls. I said, that looked like Michael Humphreys. And so I'm, trying to flag him down. So they circle back around, come back into camp, and we're talking. And he's like, what are y'all doing out here? And I said, well, we're supposed to come out here because so-and-so, and yada, yada, yada. And he goes, oh, okay. And he said, well, so-and-so called me and told me that he was out here and that he got ran off because he was scared to death by a big old Bigfoot. And I said, oh, is that so? I said, well, when did he tell you that? He told me the day and the time, which was like the very same day. And just a little few minutes later that this dude called me. And I said, well, that's just mighty funny. I said, he didn't tell me that. He told me his wife was sick. And I said, but we decided we wanted to come on out. And he goes, well, Michael goes, well, have y'all had anything happen? And I said, well, we found some interesting stuff and we've heard some interesting stuff last night, but we're going to, one of the other girls was, I think, coming that next day, but we're going to see, what goes on. But we didn't tell them anything that we had happen that night, which was very interesting. But anyway, I wanted to give that little story to it.
So Michael Humphreys from the Siege of Honaby,
yes,
says this guy called me and told me this, and this is why I was checking it out. A guy that has lived with these things and knows what the deal is. And y'all are like, hey, as a group of women, that sounds perfect. That sounds right up our alley. We're going to camp out here. That's how that happened.
Yeah, but the story that the other dude had told us, he didn't tell us he had gotten ran off by any Bigfoot or anything. Right. We were out there hoping to have Bigfoot stuff happen, but we would have still gone, even if he had told us that. He just lied and told us, or maybe this was the real truth and he lied and told Michael.
That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. But I just thought that was interesting because we're very thankful that the guy got scared out of his wits either way, whatever the case is, because this turned out to be an amazing place for us.
But essentially, you think that the guy actually got ran out of there by a booger, and that's why he canceled on y'all, and you went there and camped anyway.
Well, we went there and camped anyway, but I don't know what the real story is with him.
So what did you have happen while you were there?
Well, over the course of a few years, we had a whole lot of stuff happen, but that weekend in itself was amazing. What
time of year was it the first time you camped there, or the time you're talking about?
It was fall, I think. Wasn't it, Barbara? Pretty sure it was fall because I remember kicking leaves when we were in the Killing Field area. As we're walking, I remember just taking my foot and kicking leaves out of the way because there were leaves everywhere because there were trees everywhere. And it was like everywhere we stepped, we'd kick and there'd be more bones. And that's all we kept saying is, oh my God, there's bones everywhere. And so I believe it was fall, but I could be mistaken. It might have been.
It was the middle
January.
of January.
Okay. Yeah. But there were leaves everywhere.
And then over the years, I mean, you've gone back there. You've gone back there several times. Over the years, what all has happened? Have you caught audio? Have you seen eye shine, gotten video, pictures, found tracks? What?
Kind of all of the above.
This is why I have to do a show on this, because every time she gives an interview, she summarizes it all and says, oh yeah, a lot of stuff happened while we were there, and never goes into all of the detail. Talk about the details, Debbie, please.
How long y'all got? I mean, this could take a while.
Yeah, well, our show runs long. Go.
Yes, that's true. That was a stupid question.
I mean, I did a show with Combo Roger and Joe Parker, and then we would
Oh, Lord have mercy.
We were 6 hours. Look,
it was like 6.5 hours, and they had to take a break. Kumbo took a break, and came back more worked up and ready to go more for the second part.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first night when we backed in, saw that, got out, walked around, then we're like, okay, we're camping just as close as we can to this. So we went down the road a little bit and found a little area that was open enough for us to get in there. We set up our tent. We had 2 tents. There were 3 of us. And like I said, it was me, Patty, and Carrie. And we set up our tents where they were kind of in an L shape, however you do it. Yeah. But anyway, we had a canopy right in front of our tents. And so both of our tents opened into that canopy. And anyhow, the tree that I pointed out earlier, where I'm on the stool and reaching up to that nail, that was, if I looked out our tent, and we had just a small little dome tent back then, and it was me and Patty in that one, and then Carrie was in the other one. That tree was straight out in front in my line of view from our tent door. And it was probably, I would say, 100 feet, maybe. No, not even that far. Probably at least 50 feet away, maybe further. I'm not good with distance like that. But, and our fire pit was if you're looking at the tree, the fire pit was kind of to the left of that we had set up. And there was a huge pile of wood that somebody had cut however long ago and had left it there. And I mean, it was a huge pile of wood. And so we think that this was probably a hunter's camp or something at one time, And so
Stephanie wasn't there with y'all because that huge pile of firewood in one night.
This is pre-Stephanie.
Yeah. Yeah. And so so we're in camp, and it was cold. It was very cold. And so we sat around the fire. I don't recall hearing a whole lot of anything, call wise that night. But in the middle of the night, after we had gone to bed, Patty, I think it was like 13 degrees outside. Patty had brought a mummy tent. I mean, a mummy sleeping bag.
Right.
And so she was laying over there on her cot inside this mummy sleeping bag. And y'all know me, I bring tons of blankets, so I was warm. We didn't have a little buddy or anything at that time. So it was freaking cold outside, and she was freezing. Well, under the canopy, right outside our tent door to our right, we had put our cooler. And so it's just sitting there on the edge of being under the canopy and not being under the canopy. And then to that right side, it was trees and stuff. You know, we still had trees all around us. But so Patty had heard something walk up to that. She swears it was to the cooler, and that she could hear it breathing. And she said it was like a deep guttural, you know, like somebody has a bad cold and you can't breathe really good. You can hear all that.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to wake me up. I'm over there sound asleep. She can't get her arms out because she's in that mummy sleeping bag. And she said that what she was hearing scared her to death because she didn't know, you know, if it was a bear or what, because this was one of our first ever outings, you know,
Right.
like this. And so she can't get me. She told me that she was over there going trying to wake me up, and I was dead to the world. But that she just envisioned something standing there looking at that cooler, trying to decide if it wanted to get in it or not. But she could hear the footsteps and she could hear it walk away, and she said it sounded bipedal. And so I told her, I said, next time you just swing your legs around that bottom part of that mummy sleeping bag and reach over there and hit me with them or something. But anyway, so we decided, since she had heard all of this, that we would run like some string and stuff around, you know, camp. And so we did that. And we had run string on the backside. Like if you're looking straight out at the chimes, over to the left, we had run some string across over there. And then, of course, the chimes were hanging out off of that big old nail that was hanging there. And these were big ass chimes. I mean, the tubes on them were, you know, they were a good size. And they were long. They were, I don't know if you can see that, but they were probably at least a foot long, that just the tubes were. And they were patties. And so the next night, we were prepared. We stoked the fire real good and left it going. And it was right there by the tree, you know, so it was close to the chimes and everything. Of course, we had no idea anything was going to happen with those chimes like it did. But whatever it was came back. And we were all wide awake waiting. But, oh, and then also, because Patty had said, you know, that she could hear it moving around the night before, Carrie took her big old truck that she had. It had big chrome all over, you know, chrome bumper, and the wheel hubcaps were the chrome, had the big bumper and all that. And so she took her truck and pulled it around behind our tent and parked it at an angle where it was like the tail end of it was kind of back behind ours, and then the front part of it was kind of back over at the angle beside hers. Well, what ended up with that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because of all that chrome. That big old fire that we had going out in front of us was reflecting off of the chrome off of her truck. And anytime something moved around our tents, it created shadows. Now, this was before we ever thought of twinkle lights. We didn't have twinkle lights at this time. But that's why we started using twinkle lights. And so that second night, we were wide awake, laying and waiting. And sure enough, we started seeing shadows of something walking between that truck and our tent. And so we're all laying there just waiting, and we could see it just moving around and everything. And we think there were at least a couple, but they didn't seem to be great big. To us, the way they were moving, it seemed more like juveniles. And anyway, while we're laying there out in front, I had also left the little flaps of our tent doors unzipped a little bit where I could peek out we could peek out if we wanted to. And so while we're laying there, we hear the chimes. Now, they were dead still, but all of a sudden it sounded like something had just took its hand and knocked the hell out of those chimes. And I look over at Patty, and we're hearing them. Just, you know how when they're moving and swinging, they would normally swing back. If it had been hit with that force, it would have probably swung way on past, both sides of that tree, but it sounded like it was stopping, like it was hitting something. And then it would swing out again. And we kept going, what is that? Because it was sounding like on audio, you could hear it would be like, all the little chimey sounds. And when it would swing back down, it would hit something. And so there was like a duh, a thud. And Patty, she's not inside her little mummy thing tonight. So we're both over there doing like this, thinking it's what it sounds like it's doing. It's going up and then straight down and hitting something. So I decided I'm going to look out. And I had to work myself up to do this.
I bet.
It was, yeah. I remember just thinking, okay, don't freak out. You can do this. You can do this. And so I bring my legs around. Now I'm worried that, I've got to stand up, and I'm worried about my knees popping, making noise. So I'm like, Lord, please don't let my knees pop. Please don't let my knees pop. And then telling myself, you can do this. You can do this. Look out. This was like our first really big outing, I guess you could say.
It was the first official one. Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Scary.
It was.
Yeah. And you've got all of this activity going on around us. And here I'm about to look out of my tent to see what is hitting these chimes. And so I'm working myself up, trying to slowly go up to look out those two little flaps. I looked out, and what I saw was exactly what I said. I could see everything so good. It was crazy. I mean, but these chimes, I don't know how it was. I still am dumbfounded by it all. As many times as I've talked about it, as many times as I've relived it, I still don't have any explanation for what I saw. But if they're hanging straight down, y'all all know how chimes do, and it's got that big old ball in the middle. If something was hitting it, like it sounded like, because those chime sounds were going crazy, those big old tubes would have been all willy-nilly all over the place. And that big old ball in the center, it was heavy. It would have been too. But those chimes were hanging straight down. And the way they were hanging, if they had been perfectly still, was exactly how they were moving. And it was going from being perpendicular or whatever, I don't know, to the ground, to being parallel to the ground, and then back down. But they go up really hard and fast. And when they would swing back down, you would expect them to go backwards, past the angle they had been hanging at and be swinging like this. But they weren't. They were stopping, or they were perfectly parallel with the tree. And I couldn't understand that, and I still can't. And they would go up, be perfectly parallel with the ground, and then straight back down, perfectly parallel with the tree. But it was fast, just like this. And that ball was always right in the center of all those chimes, never moving around. So I don't even know how they were making noise. And I guess my mouth was wide open when I'm looking out, and Patty's over there going, crazy, and I'm just doing this with my fingers, trying to explain to her. And I did my hands like that. I couldn't explain it. And so anyway, that lasted, and then they just stopped. And so I sat back down on the thing, and we're just sitting there waiting to see if we hear anything else. And we didn't hear anything. We didn't hear any movement, nothing after that. And so I'm trying to tell her what I saw. And I'm like, I was in kind of like shock and awe. And I still am, just thinking about it. But anyway, we couldn't figure that out, and still can't.
And this is the first trip. I wasn't there, but still, we're thinking we're going to go out together as a group and hear some howls, but they're going to be far away. We weren't expecting stuff's going to be coming up in the camp. Yeah. That just blew us away.
You got initiated really fast.
Yeah, that's what happened to us on our first group trip out.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's talking. You know, there's a lot of people in the chat talking about how brave these women are. Like, look, Debbie's the person that goes out unarmed and rough talks a bear away from Misty's tent.
Yeah.
Yeah, brave isn't
told
the
her
word I
that.
would use.
She learned that from me. I'm a rough talker.
Barbara is. She's feisty as hell. They wouldn't have even talked about all the detail if we didn't say, wait, stop, tell us about what happened. They were just going to skip past it.
Yeah, I've still got. All right, well, let me ask you this: do you think? I mean, you think what was doing that to the chimes? I mean, you think it was a spirit, paranormal? You think it was a cloak booger? I mean, just
I was going to ask.
I'm not pinning you down, but if you just had to pick one, what do you think?
I have no clue. I really don't.
Well,
I really don't.
the longer we're in it, the less idea we have, because it's got so many possibilities.
Right.
When we went out there, we were looking for a flesh and blood creature. Now we don't know what they.
I'd like to hold on. Look here. So what Ray said, Mark and Larry with a hammock camping, and there's y'all like Eric and Kane. They go out in the middle of nowhere and hammock camp, and they go to areas where they think that they're at. And there's a bunch of us that have done that. And I'm simply making the point, like the ladies that are on here right now, they do this kind of stuff regularly where they go out. It's a group of ladies. They know what they're doing, but they go out in these areas and have this kind of activity. It's a handful of ladies going out by themselves. Mark and Larry do the hammock camping thing. Eric and Kane do the hammock camping thing. There's a few of us that have done that. And I'm just simply saying that I'm pointing out there's a difference in Bigfoot shows and the people that are talking about this stuff and describing their interactions that actually do this kind of stuff. Then there's people that go, you know, they drive down a road and they stop and get out of the truck and they do a wood knock on a tree and they're like, oh, we got a response. That's a whole different thing. So, hey, Robbie, how are you, brother? So, ladies, yeah, I know I wasn't really going to go there, but I'm going to go there anyway. About Tribulation Bay. How did you find Tribulation Bay? And let's talk about some of the crazy stuff that happened there in case there's somebody watching this that has never heard the top hits of Sisters of the Moon.
Well, Tribulation Bay is September of the same year, 2017. And they're probably about 45 miles. Now, you're going through the mountains, so it takes a lot longer. They're probably, 2 hours apart driving, Ellie? I mean, Debbie. I don't know why I called you Ellie. But anyway, I mean, this is all in our first year. This is all in our first year.
An hour and 45 minutes because you have to take the road.
Lean closer. Lean closer.
How about now?
That's a little bit better.
I'm sorry about my speaker.
There you go.
Whatever. They're probably about an hour and 45 minutes apart because of the way you have to go. You can't just cut through the middle. You know, you have to follow the roads.
Yeah.
But as a crow flies, you know, they're...
Shake your computer or something. Shake something.
Wrap it around.
How about now? Want me to hit it?
Debbie?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. Yes, I want you to hit it, but yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, so you can hear me good now?
No.
No.
It was fine. You just shake it again. Stop hitting the mute.
It makes you sound like you're a long way off.
Yeah.
How about now?
Yeah. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I bet your mic's going bad.
It may be.
Is it okay, babe?
It's
Did
in
you
and
hear
out.
this cut out?
Huh?
In and out.
Oh man, that sucks.
Oh,
Well,
there
we
it is.
hear you there.
Okay.
Okay.
What am I supposed to be talking about now?
Hold still. Tribulation Bay. Talk about how did you find Tribulation Bay?
Okay, so Henry, another one of the girls in the group. Henry and I were riding around one day. Can you hear me?
Well, we could.
You're going
What about
in
now? Dadgummit, this is picking me off.
now.
Debbie, try to go out and come back in just to see what it does, please.
Yeah, go out. Just leave and come back in.
Well, I can kind of
Okay.
get you started on the background.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, Debbie and Henry and Carrie have been camping in an area close to where our tribulation area is with some other people. And after that trip was over, they were out riding around. And they started riding down through this area and they started getting these weird feelings like, yeah. And they went down to this one spot. Actually, I think maybe Henry had drove down there by herself and found it initially. And she said that she felt like that's where we should camp. So that's how that spot was found. And it's in southern Oklahoma, kind of southeast. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's got to be a great place. That's when those feelings kick in. They found some stuff down there. That's where they found the uprooted trees that had been brought from somewhere else. You know, and the big bows up in the trees. They found those down there when they were scouting. Yeah. They found those scouting before we ever camped there. Yes. Poor girl.
Can't hear you.
Not at all now.
No. Rough talk it.
Check her mic.
Smack it with that bone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what I did. But that's why we initially decided to camp there. When Henry and I were riding around and you can't hear me? Okay, I'm gonna go talk to Larry. Hold on.
Go kick Larry off his video game and say you need to come on that computer.
No doubt. Look here now, ground chili man. We need some support
You got
here.
to put her foot down.
Captain
Hey,
King
come here,
of
honey.
Pork Rev or whatever.
Here.
Get off the video game. We
Hey,
My honey.
somebody,
James.
Hey, there's James. Hey man. How are you?
Hi, honey. How y'all doing?
Big Daddy.
That's Cat Daddy.
Where are you at right now, Barbara? New Mexico.
Carlsbad, New Mexico.
Hold on.
In the middle of nowhere.
Debbie, talk.
Here.
Debbie, say something.
On my phone.
Huh?
You on your
I
phone?
was going to try to get on my phone and get on.
Okay.
I hear you.
So I'm on my laptop right here. You want me to stay on that until I can't do it again?
We can't really hear you. You keep fading in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
she needs a Mr. Microphone.
They have it turned on another TV because she's got her microphone muted, and I'd have swore I just heard her speak. If she does, that may be the problem. It may be echoing off each other.
Oh,
Well, they should know that.
You don't have it on anything else?
You don't have a Bluetooth speaker on somewhere, do you?
No,
Is Larry wearing Bluetooth headphones?
no. He's connected.
In Alabama, we call that blacktooth.
You ain't right.
Hey, maybe, Mark. Maybe. Okay.
Well, anyway, Tribulation Bay is a great location. That first trip there, I was not there the first night. I came there the next night. But the first night, they started hearing stuff, just not even dark time out there. They were hearing things going on. Roosters crowing and cows mooing and
Right.
and coughing. There was coughing and stuff going. So they kind of got worried about, well, maybe there's some humans out here messing with us doing that coughing. And then they also got a little concerned about bears. Neither one of them had any bear spray, so they rode into town. But before they rode into town, Debbie had set out a recorder.
That's right. Yep.
She set out a recorder before they left because they'd been hearing all this stuff. Well, they rode into town, and I'm sure it took them a good hour and a half to go into town and still not find any bear spray before they could get back to camp. And as soon as they got back to camp, the activity started up again. Can we hear you now, dear? Absolutely not.
Larry won't let me get on his computer.
Oh,
He's playing.
wave a Twinkie in front of him and bribe him.
If we can't hear Debbie for our show, the whole rest of the show is going to be nothing but Larry bashing. Porch, if you're listening to this,
He ain't listening.
he don't care. He don't care.
Not one bit.
Yeah, he's not listening. He's got his headphones on.
Stay right there. We can hear you. Don't move.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got you now.
All right. Tribulation Bay, the first night, because Barbara wasn't there. She already went over where you had to run to town and get the bear spray, but you left the recorders out. Take it from there.
Yeah, when we got back, and as soon as we got back, we didn't know it had been dead silent the whole time we were gone. There was absolutely nothing, and as soon as we got back to camp, it all picked up again. I mean, it started in, we had the recorder set, I had one in my hand, and it just went back to picking up again. And when we finally decided to go in to the tent, I mean, there were whoops and yells and stuff we had never heard before, and it was all the landscape kind of went up a hill in front of where we were facing, and it was all coming from the exact same spot. Like Barbara said, we'd heard a cow, a whimpering dog, a rooster, which it sounded like a sick one, but it was trying to be a rooster, evidently.
A chainsaw.
Oh yeah, but it wasn't that night we heard the chainsaw sound.
Uh-huh.
But it would, every time we went back, Barbara said we'd hear something coming from that same area right up there at the top of that. I keep looking over here like that hill's over here, but I'm using my hand. But that's
we know.
where it would always happen. But at one point, the dog sound, the tree line where it was heavily wooded came down the side, that little hill, and came up close to us where our chairs were. And at one point, it sounded like it came up really close to us. And that's when we decided we were going to go in the tent. And so we put a recorder on each corner of the tent, basically. And then that's when it really amped up after we went inside.
Is that the night that somebody showed up in the middle of the night
with the
or
sword?
was it?
No.
No, that was in Georgia.
No. Yeah, that's
Oh,
Georgia
okay.
trip.
All right. So
Yeah.
where did
This is in Oklahoma. Tribulation Bay is in Oklahoma.
I know
Okay.
that, but the recordings, what was the night that y'all hit the alarm on the vehicles or something?
That was
We
this
done that.
night. Now you may be thinking of Henry coming early the next morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was
Yeah,
that
that
at
was
Tribulation
trip.
Bay?
Yes.
Henry came early the next morning. Yeah. This after we went into the tent, it really amped up a lot more, and they started hitting our tent. You could see their hand. I mean, it was a lot bigger than mine, of course, but it was laid out, and it would hit the corner of the tent. I was in the middle of the tent, and my cot was across the front wall, touching the end. Carrie's was on the end, long ways, on the opposite side, but I was sitting in the middle of the floor when one of them, we think there were two out there, that hit the corner of the tent and came all the way under my cot, almost over to where the leg, first crisscross of the leg was. And you could see just plain as day, its hand was splayed out like that. It was a lot bigger than my hand.
Your microphone still keeps going in and out. I need you to lean back and yell at the phone like you would yell at Larry. Just yell just like you would cuss at porch. Just talk loud.
I don't turn the camera off for that.
Okay, so let's. Okay,
You think they do that just to see if they can get a rise out of you? Because there's a lot of people says that happens, and you know, Donna and them had it happen to them at Daniel Boone. She got smacked in the head.
Yeah, they do like to mess with you. They love that. They want to try to scare you off. I think is their objective. But they keep messing with us because we won't leave.
Yeah,
We're
I
there
think they
entertainment.
just see what they can get you to do.
Yeah,
What
they
that-
want us to squeal. They like that.
I said, we're there entertainment.
What?
We're there entertainment.
You're their entertainment?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
It's got
We're
good
there
light.
night at the movies.
You're
Yeah.
my entertainment right now.
Hey. Hey, we're out there acting silly and playing music. The music's nice because you know what? Sometimes we play that Indian flute music, and that's real
Yes,
soothing. And it's like, hey, what the heck is that? I want to go check that out. Here they go.
Well,
yep, we do it too.
Yeah.
but let me ask you,
Hey,
how much do you think of it is a result because there's a bunch of females out there with no males with you? I mean, that's gotta come into play to some degree, don't you think?
I think we have a huge advantage being just women with no males. Because they just don't think of a woman typically as threatening.
Right.
And here you got 3 women out here just sitting in the woods around the fire in the middle of nowhere. What the heck they doing out here? They playing music and trying to get us to look at them because we're going to.
Mhm.
Misty,
Yeah.
you know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking, Misty?
What? I'm not bait next time again. Forget it.
No, I'm just thinking about if Spencer and Anthony would cross dress and go camp out by themselves, we'll just test it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I don't
know.
think they.
you
I
still
don't think
got a
they'd
full
fall
mouth.
for it. Absolutely not.
I didn't know he was going to go that way.
We'll get you and Anthony, you borrow some of Misty's wigs and some perfume. Hey, y'all be good to go. Okay, I'm not going with you.
I got a question. Do y'all think like the hair color and stuff like that makes a difference too? Because I do. I think like females that have lighter colored hair. I don't know if it's because
Yeah.
they can see them easier in the dark or what, but it's
Yeah, that's what I always
just the
heard.
difference when I had my hair dyed.
Well, they're different. I mean, typically, I would say a Bigfoot just looks at other brown Bigfoots. And here's somebody that walk around with white hair. What's going on with that? That's different. But mainly, I think they just like to mess with people. I've been told several stories about our location in Georgia where grown men have just left. They like to mess with people. And it's how prepared you are. If you are out there knowing, there's probably going to be some Bigfoot around, I'm ready. I know they're here. I'm going to be surprised. But these people that are just out there camping and something like this walks in their camp and starts messing with them, that's when they run up the hill into your camp with a 3-foot sword in their hand because they don't know what's going on.
That's crazy. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
If y'all do decide that you're going to make the rounds or whatever, we are definitely doing a camping trip, just us girls. We'll talk Sherry and Donna and, a couple other of the girls that's here from our group into going and we'll go stay in a couple of places around here that we know is pretty good. So that'll be fun.
Y'all just all
we'd like to hit several locations.
Y'all women come right here and stay at the man cave, and I'll let Wanda and Abby come over here, and I'll go back home.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that would be awesome. That would be fun.
Hey, and look, they ain't no telling because look, every time Misty comes, undoubtedly this one over here's got the hots for her because it's like when she gets here, it knows she's here.
It's weird. That's what made me a believer that they actually recognize who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I think the ones in Georgia absolutely know us.
Yeah, I agree.
I think the ones that came to my property, all those years, they knew who I was. They knew who was supposed to be at my house and who wasn't supposed to be at my house.
Yeah.
If you got Sisters of the Moon and Misty over at Greg's man cave and just left them there, just them, I'd almost guarantee something would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Especially sitting out on the porch talking and laughing and going on, because it seems like when we were sitting out there and got to really cackling around playing games and, just being silly, they got loud at one point, didn't they, Greg? Like,
they got really loud.
And like they were getting excited.
They do. They're getting excited because you're being loud, like you're not paying them any attention. And they're, what is it they call it?
Oh, boy.
Look at there. All
right. It's an old Indian saying.
We're not even going to ask what she had to promise to get that.
I got to figure out how to. Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
How do I turn this down?
He's not your butt in there.
He won't lean in and say hello.
No doubt.
He said, "Say hello."
Hello.
No, come over here.
Whatever, Larry. That's fine. It's fine. Thank you for giving up the game for a few minutes.
No, it was like a dagger through his heart.
You know what happened? She went there and speed.
He'll be all right. Dadgummit.
That makes my face look fat.
No, it doesn't.
It does not.
No,
you look great.
Beautiful.
She had to go in there and attack him like Squirrel does JR sometimes, and she got her way.
Y'all, I gotta take this right quick.
What have you done?
My internet signal actually it's horrible. So I was trying to move stuff around and fix it, and most of y'all know I'm terrified of spiders. I leaned the thing down and I've got the camera off and got it sitting behind me, and I scream out, and there's 3 spiders on the lid where I close it down, and they're like, "Oh, we done thought that JR had got loose." You see him on the camera running by.
She screamed. We couldn't see her. We could just hear her, and she screamed, and it got quiet. And me and Spencer like freeze, and we're looking at each other, and all of a sudden Spencer goes, "Squirrel, are you okay?" And she like ain't saying nothing, and then finally she does, and that's what I told Spencer. I said, "Oh, she caught JR escaping."
Yes. JR on the nanny cam. She looked over and saw the shackles were just hanging there, and there was no JR, and she freaked out.
Look, she done got Larry.
No doubt.
Yeah, Larry didn't give it up willingly. She hit him upside the head with that cow bone.
Hey, for the sake of the show, Larry, I appreciate you taking one for the team.
Yeah. Oh, everybody's worried about Larry.
Yep.
He's probably in there taking a nap already.
No,
Probably.
he's raiding the refrigerator.
Yeah,
He
could
might
be.
find his
Making
tater salad.
something to eat. That would make more
They
sense.
call him tater salad.
Yeah.
Right?
Inventor of the ground chili.
Yeah, that's it.
Ground up, but eating it off the ground.
I can speak from experience. The one time that me and Larry and Mark Newbill, now they got to go out with them before that, but the Sisters of the Moon were up in North Georgia. I got to participate in that. We were at a camp further down the road, so the men stayed away from where the women were camping. And they had stuff happen. I mean, in my experience, we walked over there the next day and we found probable tracks out back there.
Spencer found them.
Mm-hmm.
But we all
Sandy.
saw them. But we all saw them. Yeah, Sandy found them.
Yeah.
I have
but
that
there was-
cast at my other place. Yeah,
Oh, did you get the cast from that?
I do. I have
Yeah.
the cast. Not with me.
But there was stuff there, and it made me think right off the get-go, knowing what I know about them and what they've done so far over the years, that it's almost like anywhere they go. I don't want people to read too much into this because we know
Lord knows they will.
Well,
Yeah.
we can get way out there in left field with talking about like people that have been marked or that they come to certain people, whatever. We can get way out there with that. But they have activity a lot. And like that time, we were set up over there a ways as kind of like backup and to watch and try to kind of like surveil them, except for we were too far away. And asked Mark and Larry about driving around using the thermal going through the campground. But anyway, they had stuff happen. The tracks that we found the next day, for anybody that has ever looked at tracks, you know how quickly grass and foliage will spring back up? This stuff was still depressed, and where the dew had hit the ground, you could tell there was like a different shade on those tracks. Those impressions. They weren't perfectly clear tracks. But my point is, where they said, hey, we think we had something here last night, I said, all right, let me walk out here and look around. And sure as shit, found impressions all over the place. They had stuff. What did y'all have happen that night? Because you had the lights up. Did somebody see shadows or something?
What I did something different that night. Sandy has suggested,
That's right.
hey, we're all so upbeat all the time. Let's try something different and let's be
That's right.
sad. So just out of the blue, I pop off and I start boo-hooing. I mean, I put on quite a performance. I had Debbie just convinced.
Let me
my heart was
interject.
broken.
Barbara waited a few minutes before she did anything. We didn't know she was going to even do anything. And then she just starts boo-hooing and bawling and scared the crap out of us. And, I mean, literally, she's sitting right there and she's just so loud.
Is this before or after Stephanie burnt through a quarter cord of firewood?
That was ongoing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't blame her. I like keeping a fire going too.
Well,
Yeah,
she
he
had to build a
does.
damn bonfire.
Oh my God.
But I tell you
Bless
what, when
I love it.
yeah, Stephanie's a sweetheart. But when Barbara let out that crying, we literally at first thought something was wrong with her. It scared
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
and we were like, "Is she for real?" And then she was like, "I'm so sad," and then we're like, "Oh, we got her. We know what she's doing." But
Hey, whatever
we-
works.
it worked. It worked
Yeah.
because
It sure did.
something way back there, which it had to have been back there in that food plot. It sounded like it was going back and forth, just screaming and wailing.
House. I
Yeah.
double dare you to hit the thumbs up. Well, whether you hit the thumbs up or not, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for being there.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
hey, y'all, where's the last place you have been as a group? Weren't you? You talked about it a few months ago on Beast. I forget where you went. Was it the Ozarks?
Yeah.
Yes.
What happened
We
there? Did
named
anything happen?
We named it Camp Red Eye.
Yeah.
Oh, did you get eye shine?
Well,
Yes.
when me and
Not on
another
that
girl,
trip.
not on that trip, but me and another, me and Patty were there. I was trying to think of who it was. Me and Patty had gone there. And that was, I got to say, out of all of the stuff that we've had happen, and we have had a lot of stuff happen, this is the only time that I physically felt like I was unnerved a little bit. And I got a really heavy feeling, and it literally unnerved me some at this place. And it just down at the end of this little dirt road is a cemetery, and that's why we camped there. And we had camped across the road on up a good ways there a couple of years prior, and we had wanted to camp down in that cemetery area. But when Barbara and Sandy had gotten there, there was already somebody camping there. And that was a long time ago. And so we camped up the hill away from there. And that's when we had the moans and everything all night long and stuff. So when we finally were able to go back and camp, we did. And this particular time it was me and Patty. And I've never, in the whole time I've been hunting Bigfoot, you've heard stories about how, the batteries were drained. Well, we ain't never had anything like that happen. Never, ever. And everything at this spot that first night, nothing worked. Every bit of the batteries on everything I had charged went down just like that. And that in itself was weird to me. And so we couldn't even get a fire going. It had been raining, so everything was soaking wet. And we had a little bitty, tiny fire, and then it would just go down, and we'd try to stoke it up. We couldn't even hardly get that going, so we didn't even have a fire. I had already gone through 3 recorders, and finally went and got like my Tascam or something out, and had just kind of sat down, and Patty stood up. My truck was at an angle facing out towards the dirt road. And so the back part of my truck was against the tree line that was across from us. And then the front of it looked like it was stuck out into the road, but it wasn't. It was just at the angle. And then all across from us and all around us was just solid trees. And we were in this little bitty opening, and we had put our tent on an actual game trail, which was kind of stupid. But anyway, so our tent was way far off from us. And that's the first time I've ever done that before. But, Patty's standing up looking at the trees across from us on the other side of where the fire would have been. And she said, I just saw yellow eyes. And I said, where? And we try not to point, Right. And she said, I'm facing where it came from. And so I get up. She said it was heading towards your truck. And so I get up and go to the kind of turn right, because now I'm facing the road. like my truck is facing, basically, because I'm thinking, okay, if it disappeared behind my truck, then it's probably fixing to go across that road, because there wasn't any place else to go except across the dirt road. And then across over there was nothing but woods. And so I'm looking over there, and when I look from way out there, which I don't know how it could have gotten out there that fast, as far off as this was, and up pretty damn high, I see 2 red eyes. And I said, Pat, I'm staring at it. I don't take my eyes off of it. And I say, Patty, I see 2 red eyes. And she said, where? And I said, I'm staring straight at it. And as soon as I said that, it still creeps me out, y'all. Those eyes never came off of me. Never, ever. And I mean, anyway, I've never seen anything move this fast. They just, I don't know if it was up on a branch, but whatever it was. And the branch, the next day I looked, and it's way up there. And it would have had to have been on that branch. Otherwise, this thing would have been 10 foot tall. But they went, shoo, I mean, shoo, just straight down. Never took their eyes off of me. I could see them going straight down and started running towards me. Now, this is out there a ways, but I start backing up, literally backing up, walking backwards. And I said, Patty, it's coming towards me. And about that time, she heads over, because she's over to my left, kind of where the truck was. She starts heading towards me. I'm walking backwards, backing up as fast as I could. And as it gets up to where the road kind of would have probably, was, or at least that's where I thought it was at, it starts running. Okay, so it drops down straight, starts running towards me, and then it instantly starts running to what would be my left. It's right. But the thing was, it never took its eyes off of me. So as it's coming towards me, but now it's fixing to go right, you would think that it's looking to its right, that it's looking in the direction it's running, but it's not. It's staring at me. And that freaked me the hell out. I can't say it any other way. And I said, Patty, it's still staring at me. And it never once blinked, nothing. It was 2 red eyes solid, straight down, then starts coming towards me, and then starts running to its right, my left. And it disappears behind that truck. And I said, I don't know what the hell that was. I don't know what that was. But I have never been freaked out before. I mean, I've gotten like excited, but I can't say I've ever been freaked out until this night. So we decide, let's just go in the tent. Nothing's working. We didn't have any night vision. We didn't have any thermal. None of that crap worked. So we were sitting out there naked, basically. So I said, let's go in the tent. Well, so we walked what seemed like a mile to the tent, which it wasn't that far, but it was further than it should have been. And the bushes and the trees and everything on each side came right up to the sides of the tent. And then the front door, of course, was on the game trail. And then the back behind us was open because of the game trail. But there were sticker bushes on both sides with big old thorns on it. And so I'm sitting up like this on the bed. Patty's actually laying down. Well, we had pulled the bed away from the back wall and had put one of our big old plastic tubs back there that had all of our, stuff in it. And she's laying down. I'm sitting up and I'm still talking because I'm like, I don't know what the hell that was. I mean, that literally freaked me out. About that time, something had walked up behind us. We never heard anything. And oh, I didn't know if that was Larry or who. But something had walked up behind us and out of the blue just hit the hell out of that tent. But it hit low. So I think it was thinking it was going to hit us, but it hit that tub. And when it hit that tub, it made this huge boom sound, and the tent and everything shaking. It scared me. I jumped, which I was already a little shaken. And like I said, y'all know me. I don't normally get shaken. I get excited, but that shook me. Yeah. And so I I said a cuss word and turned, and of course the tent is just giving it this, and immediately something started to go down the side, the right side over there, where on Patty's side, started to go down the tent, and we had twinkle lights on both sides, but my side had already burnt out. Like I said, everything was dying, so the left side lights were already gone, but her side was still going. It starts to go down, but it instantly steps back, and it's back behind the, out of the light where it's not a shadow anymore, and it goes behind the twinkle lights, and you can hear it just flailing through the woods and crashing through all those leaves and everything and the branches and everything. And so we're just sitting there listening, and you can hear it running down through there, and it gets to the front right corner of our tent, and it just stops. So now we're like, is it fixing to go across, walk across the road, the little trail? And we're listening, and then sure enough, you can hear it. The little rocks. It takes like 3 steps, and now it's on the left side, which is my side. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to come back down this side of the tent. So we're just sitting there waiting, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and we don't hear anything. And I look at Patty and do like that, and she shakes her head, and we just keep waiting. Next thing we know, way off behind us, we can hear something walking away. Don't know how it got through because this was all grown up on my side, just like it was on Patty's side. But that unnerved me a little bit, seeing those eyes and all of that crap that went with it. And then that.
You don't think it was more than one? You think it was the same one?
I have no clue. No clue. I only saw one.
Debbie, didn't Patty also see some yellow eyes?
Yeah, she had seen the yellow eyes right before all, because that's what made me get up and start looking and looked across the road, because she had said it disappeared behind my truck. So I thought, okay, well then it's probably going across the little dirt road. And that's why I looked over there, and that's when I saw the big red eye. So I don't know.
Hey, hold on. Look at this comment, because it's really relevant. From all the info, one out front gets your attention, one behind, and to your sides get close in. Or one gets your attention while the other ones get away, because you might happen to be looking right at them and they don't want to give the game away. So another one gets your attention and you look at them. That is very commonly said. I think I've experienced stuff like that. A lot of people have talked about stuff like that. Y'all ever experience something like that? Like you hear a knock or a whistle or a whoop or anything, and you look that way, and then you hear something back behind you or whatnot? I mean, that's a very common thing, don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so. And we've heard stuff, different times from different places, but this one particular time,
be around us. Yeah.
Well, like with y'all, I know that unnerves you, but what's y'all's scariest, most oh shit moment that y'all ever had doing this? Can you pin it down?
We had a couple of times we kind of stood up and paid attention.
We've had a lot of stuff happen.
We'll talk about one in detail.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to pick one, what would be your brown short moment?
Okay, I'll tell the one that's my go-to story.
Okay.
I was in Jefferson, Texas, Sandy, and my niece Stephanie was with me, and we were camping out around Lake of the Pines. Debbie had sent a text telling me she thought this would be a good place to camp. So she wasn't going to be with us. She was off with Larry, bouncing around in Tennessee somewhere. Yeah. So it was me, Sandy, and Stephanie. And we'd went out there that afternoon and set up our tent, so we wouldn't have to come back and do it in the dark. And then we went to the conference. Probably came back about 11 o'clock. It's raining. It's been raining all afternoon and evening. We come back to the camp, our little camp spot, and I finally get a fire going. And we're sitting in my tent. My tent had a little short little porch that came out in front, just big enough you could sit a lawn chair in. And the three of us are sitting outside the tent under this little porch. And I look at my niece, and Debbie had just sent me the gibberish that she had recorded at Tribulation Bay.
Oh.
And this is probably a little over a year later. And well, I'm probably 150 miles away from the spot that she recorded this gibberish. Well, anyway, my niece is there. This is like her second little trip out in the woods with us. And I had the gibberish on my phone, and I asked my niece, I said, "Hey, you want to hear Bigfoot talking?" She said, "Yeah." So I turn it on and I play it. Well, as soon as it stopped playing, I started over and let it play. I let it play twice. Just as soon as that gibberish stopped behind us in the woods, and we're surrounded by woods. And just as soon as this gibberish stops behind us, we hear this 3 loud boom, boom, boom. And then we start hearing and we start feeling something coming up behind us. Sandy and I kind of glanced at each other, and I'm like, I don't know what's fixing to happen. I don't know what's going to go on here. When they get up to the back of the tent had a little tree on each side, fairly close, with a lot of leaves. They shook those trees, and the water just poured all over us. The water poured out. They got done shaking the trees, but then they curved off and went out in the woods, and they left us alone. Didn't bother us anymore.
Wow.
They come up there.
And didn't they go off in opposite?
Yes, on each side. Now, I feel like there must have been 3 because I heard 3 booms, but I don't know where the third one comes into play with coming up to the tent. But we do know for sure one went off in each opposite direction.
So could you feel the ground shake with the steps coming to y'all?
It was like it was just in the air.
Okay.
It was just, you could feel it coming at you. It was really scary. That's probably one of the times I've been the scaredest. Because like I didn't know what was fixing to happen.
Yeah.
But I tell you what I think happened.
Uh-oh.
She froze. Well, it was getting good, Dave.
Makes me want to thump the screen.
It was getting good, Dave.
She'll be back. I know what she's fixing to say.
I tell you what I think happened.
Suspense.
But one thing too is she thinks from the way it sounded and felt. There she is.
Hey.
So you didn't get to finish. You didn't get to finish. You said, "I'll tell you what I think happened."
She was building the suspense up.
No doubt.
And there she's going again.
You're going to have to fill us in, Debbie. You're going to have to.
Oh, there she is. Now I can't hear her.
Can't hear you.
Oh, no. At the worst time. See, the Men in Blacks hit the pause button.
What? Y'all, this is either the government or the solar flares. This is not us. We have no control over that.
No.
Yeah.
It's horrible. It's usually mine.
My suspense is killing me, Debbie. You're going to fill us in.
Well, when they heard the boom, 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 I was on my way with Larry and Dan and Vicky. We were going to I think it was one of the outings years ago. And so she messaged me the next day and is telling me about it. And she said when they heard the boom, 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 it sounded like they had dropped down out of the trees back behind them.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah. And she said because they could also just feel it. You know, they said they could feel it. But then I think where she ended, they ran off. You know, they shook the trees and it just doused the tent with water and everything. And then they ran off in opposite directions. But she said that they had just played the gibberish, you know, that we had recorded, and they think, just her putting 2 and 2 together, she thinks maybe they understood what the gibberish said, which y'all know the story about the gibberish is it evidently we didn't know it, but when the gibberish occurred, evidently Henry had come into camp not too long after that. And this, of course, was in Oklahoma. And that previous leading up to it, we knew that there had been at least 2 of them messing with us. But with the gibberish and the recordings and everything, and then what happened afterwards, we think it ended up being a 3rd one, because when David Ellis of the Olympic Project analyzed the audio, he said that there were 3 distinctive voices in the gibberish. And so we just kind of think, this is just what we think. We don't know, you know, but we think that the big guy was coming over to tell the 2 juveniles, somebody's coming. Y'all need to get your butts out of here, you know. And so she just thinks maybe that's what they heard. Somebody's coming. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I tried to fill them in for you, Barbara, because we kept losing you. I don't know if she can hear us now.
I can. Hold on.
Okay.
My son's trying to call me.
Oh, okay. But anyway, we don't know what the gibberish says, but that's, you know.
Yeah. Well, well, how about you, Debbie? What's your, if you got to pick one?
Hey, I'm still doing my show.
Okay.
Before Debbie tells about her scariest
All right,
thing.
I love you, honey. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
I just told it. I just told it to y'all.
Oh, so the red eyes?
Yeah, that's the only time I've been really, really unnerved.
Okay.
I need to say, though, for everybody watching, if you've never seen it, there's been a couple podcasts with Debbie explaining whenever they caught the gibberish. I've seen the audio personally. Super, super, super impressive. The scariest part for me personally, listening to it, is there is something that is, it's in the human range, but doesn't have a human vocal signature that says, "Hey, Debi," and it really pronounces the syllables separate. You would have to hear the recording. I don't have it right now. She's done videos with it on there, and I forget the exact story of what you were yelling at somebody else because you thought somebody was saying your name, but it says, "Hey, Deb," like it goes, "Hey, Debi," like that, and y'all.
And it's kind of breathy too.
Yes, it
like
is.
It's whispering.
It's freaky. It's freaky. That's one of the freakiest audio I've ever listened to.
But for people that haven't heard the story a million times already, when that was recorded, this was at our Tribulation Bay place, and it was the second night. Barbara had just gotten there at 10 o'clock that morning. Henry had arrived late in the middle of the night. And so they weren't there for all of the stuff that had happened the night before. And so we were telling them all about it. And so I wanted to make sure I hung out those recorders early because it had started so quickly when we had gotten there the day before. And so I had just hung up one recorder up on that hill where I had talked about earlier, where all the stuff was coming from that night before at Tribulation Bay. I went out and I put one recorder over to the left and I zip tied it to a tree. And I made sure on my tippy toes, reaching up as far as I could, is where I zip tied it to. Okay. So that one was over there to my left. And then I went on over to the right some, and I'm hanging up another one the same way. And what I heard with my naked ear sounded like a 2-syllable cough. Like, could y'all hear that?
Yeah.
It just sounded like, well, I thought maybe Barbara had coughed or something, because she had kind of been coughing a little bit earlier in the day. And you can hear me on the recorder as I'm zip tying that second one up. I go, there's Miss Barbara. And then I turn around and I go, Barbara, did you cough? Huh?
No, I was saying hi to Abby.
Oh, I thought she told me this. Okay. So I said, Barbara. And she didn't answer. And so I turn around and I'm looking down at camp and I holler, Barbara. And she steps out from behind the tent way on down in camp from the opposite direction of where I had just heard this sound, the 2-syllable cough. And I said, did you cough? And she said, no. And I said, did anybody cough? And all of this is on the recorders because they were already going. And she goes, no. And then I'm thinking, oh shit. And so I laugh, and you can hear me say this little nervous laugh. And I go, okay, hold on a second. And I start hightailing my butt down to camp. And I'm telling them, I just heard something up there that I thought was a cough. But when it was analyzed, you can plainly hear it. It goes, hey, Debi. Just freaky.
It is. It's freaky.
Freaky. But
Barbara, you're muted if you want to say something. You might be froze up again.
yeah, she's frozen on screen.
Yep, frozen in me.
Wait a minute. There I am.
Oh, there she is.
Oh, I was just listening away. I thought I was doing good. Okay.
No, I just didn't know if you wanted to weigh in
praying.
because she was right. She was saying that you were right there and you were replying to her.
When I was calling you, when I thought I thought you would call.
Yeah, right. And that is on the recorder. I've heard all of it.
Well, it's out there if you want to go find it.
Me about it. It
Yeah,
is.
The Kerry Arnold's video that he did on us. I mean, it's long, but it encompasses
Episode
a lot
12.
of this. It's really good. He got a lot of stuff into that one episode.
He did, and Lord knows he had to record. He had to record y'all for 24 hours to get 2 hours of stuff that he edited and put in there. I know he did.
And it was so funny because the place that Barbara was just talking about, where they dropped down, or they think they dropped down out of the trees and got doused with water and all that. When Carrie and Linda came to visit us and be with us and record all of this stuff, they were like, is there a place we can go where we're in the woods? And we're like, yeah. So we carried them over there to that place where Barbara and them had camped. And it's just real narrow. It was only wide enough to put the tent on because it's a little trail. And so we set up. So when you see us in his Bigfoot Odyssey video, and we're all in circles at night, sitting in chairs, that's where we're sitting, is where those 2 or 3 or however many there were dropped down out of those trees behind the tent, and all that happened that Barbara just told about. That's where we're sitting.
Yep.
And I tell you what, he had his gun. He had his gun on his hip, and he had it ready for action.
It was ready to go, huh?
Yeah.
Well, we took him in the woods for the first time, that he would go out at night with somebody.
That's what he told us.
Yeah, that was his first time out in the woods at night, was with us, and that made us feel real special.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Yeah.
He was a great guy and a great friend.
Yes,
He was.
Yeah.
We miss him.
Kerry was a good man. There's no doubt that what he experienced had an effect on him.
Definitely.
Well, a lot of people that if you haven't ever been through something traumatic like what he has, and like some of the stuff I've had, you can't explain it to somebody.
these people that are talking about, hey, they had this stuff come in and it screamed at them and they stomped the ground and yelled back at it, or, you know, whatever. They shouldered the rifle and they were ready to shoot it and everything. Just in my limited experience, I doubt that I would react that way. I don't know. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff on YouTube and Facebook, and you just got to take it with a grain of salt, y'all.
I ain't never went a couple miles up the road and slept on top of the truck.
House.
I'm stating facts. I was ready to be somewhere where there's 4 walls and shitloads of guns.
It's truth. It's truth. Anyway, on that note right there, y'all, okay, there's a lot of stuff out there on YouTube about Sisters of the Moon. There's a ton. Go back and look it up. I'm super, super proud to know them and people that they are associated with. They're some of the bravest ladies I've ever met. I still say Squirrel and them at Greg's Man Cave. That's a recipe for getting action right there.
Let's do it.
We might have to work that into our schedule.
Yeah.
That needs to happen, but it needs to be documented, the whole thing. I mean, that needs to be like completely recorded the entire time, because anything can happen at any point. At Greg's, we've had stuff happen at the most inopportune times, and like even then, multiple recordings going, and had to stop and go back, and I accidentally deleted mine. It's crazy. Right there at Greg's Man Cave.
Yeah.
They're going
What if we set a computer up out on the picnic table, facing it out to where I was getting those knocks, and just leave it running live just all the time. People can come in as they want to, in and out, and see what's going on or whatever. Just leave one going 24/7 while we're there out on the porch.
It'll stay going that whole time. Has anybody ever camped in a tent out there, Greg?
Oh, back years ago I have, before I knew about buggers. Never had anything happen, but
I would rather be in a tent.
I wouldn't want you in a tent here.
Do you
I asked about sleeping in the Jeep. You don't
need a tent. You don't need. All you gotta do is come here and stay.
Ladies, just so you know, Greg's got a place right down the road from him where he had a lot of the action happen, where a campsite was abandoned with hundreds of dollars of stuff left there. And it's hundreds of yards from where a lot of Greg's activity happened whenever it first started happening to him. Now, me and Misty wanted to camp there, but anyway, so y'all, I'll send you the pin on Google Maps, and you can go camp there in a tent.
Yeah,
I'm up for it.
I wouldn't go down there and stay in a tent myself. But I would feel better now after the things quit being belligerent and, you know, the way they used to treat us. I could probably go down there and I'd be okay because the way they treat me here now. But I still want to. I don't want to try it.
But see, I think they know you know now, so they're treating you a little different. They know you know.
Exactly.
Yes,
exactly. 100%. They know that you know.
Yeah,
they know him. Greg, because it's been a little while, tell the story about Al throwing those potatoes out there and what all ensued.
Yeah. Well, it's been, what's it been, a year ago, maybe?
So close to that.
Yeah, it's been a while. But anyway, my buddy Al was here, and it was on a Saturday. I mean, it was a Saturday up in the morning, and I had to run to the bank. And from here to the bank's about 4.5 miles. And we were going to have a big supper here, and he done like a couple of big, like beef roast in a big aluminum pan. He put the potatoes and the carrots and the onions and all that. Well, he was in here in my kitchen at the man cave, and he was getting all that stuff in a big, one of those big giant turkey aluminum pans. Well, I told him, I said, look, I need to run to the bank before they close. I said, dude, I'll be back in just a few minutes. well, okay. I said, you need anything? He said, no, I've about got this stuff ready. He said, I'm going to have it ready, slide it in the refrigerator, and we'll put it on the grill in a couple hours. Sure, that'll work. Well, he's in the kitchen. He's putting all this stuff together. Well, I leave, and this is probably 11:30-ish, maybe, something like that. And, I'm thinking I got to get to the bank because they close at 12 on Saturday. So I go to the bank and go up there and do what I got to do, and I come back. Well, I pull up and come in this door right here. Well, as I open the door, I step in, and I look about probably 25 feet there. He steps out of the bathroom, and I hear the bathroom door open. He steps out, and I can see across the living room to where he's at. And he steps out, and he holds his hands up. And he looks at me, and he's just like, I'm looking at him. I'm like, what? He goes, was you locked out?
Thank you.
I said, what are you talking about? He said, what are you banging on? I'm like, dude, I ain't banging on shit. What are you talking about? He said, that wasn't you beating out there on the wall? I said, dude, I just pulled up and walked straight in here. What are you talking about? He said, well, I was hurrying up trying to get out of the bathroom. He said, I thought you'd got locked out or something. Said somebody was banging on the wall. I said, dude, I wouldn't bang on the wall. I'd have been banging on the door. And first off, I've got a key in my pocket and there's a key hid out here. I ain't banging on nothing. I said, when did this happen? He said, I went in and hurried up. He said, it's probably been 3 or 4 minutes, maybe. I said, dude, I ain't banging on nothing. Well, look, down here where I'm at, I got a neighbor right here. There's a couple of people live right here, just a few hundred feet. And then my brother and my sister-in-law live in my mobile home down here. But look, there was nobody here. Al was the only person here that day. He was it. I said, dude, I ain't banged on nothing. He said, I'm not kidding. He said, dude, I thought you was like trying to get my attention, just bang, 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 trying to get in. I said, no. I said, dude, he said, look, it couldn't have been a couple of minutes. And I looked at him. I said, well, shit, it ain't me. He said, it had to be that booger. I said, well, yeah. I said, where was it? He said, well, I guess. I said, yeah, it was like toward this end. It wasn't toward the door. He said, come think of it, it was back this way. So I go out on the porch, the back porch, the big porch, the covered porch. He walks around. He's looking all out in the woods, and he walks around there, and he stops. He's looking all around, and he's looking. I said, what is it? He said, they're gone. I said, what's gone? He said, well, I had that big bag of potatoes and said there was three potatoes left, like regular Irish potatoes. He said, I wasn't going to leave them in a bag. He said, I knew they'd stay in there and rot in the kitchen. He said, I just figured I'd throw them out here and the squirrels or something would eat them. He said, they're gone. I said, so where were they? He said, they were laying right here. Well, look, we're talking about maybe 12 to 15 foot from the porch. The neighbor kid was riding a four-wheeler through here, and he kind of had like a 2-track trail through my yard right by my porch. And he said, I threw 2 of those potatoes, and he said they were laying just a couple of feet apart, laying in this trail right there. He said, right here. The other one, I tossed it, and it went down the yard, which is about 25, 30 yards. And he said it was down there. Well, I look, and I can see that one potato is still down there at the edge of the yard. But those 2 right here by the porch, they were gone. I'm talking about gone.
Yeah.
We go to looking, and he found some impressions in the pine straw and the leaves. And it was like, you could see it looked like possibly a footprint, and they were about 5 feet apart. But it was like, I said, dude, they probably saw you pitch those potatoes out. When you came back in, they grabbed them. And I guess they were just beating on the dang wall as possibly a thank you. I don't know.
Yeah.
So appreciate it.
I'm telling you. If y'all go to Greg's man cave, so something will most likely happen. Alabama is the most boogery place I've ever seen. I'll say it again and again.
Well, I told Larry I wanted to camp there.
Well, I mean, look, I got 3 bedrooms here, bathroom. We're in Alabama, but we got indoor plumbing and running water.
I like to camp, though. I like being out there. You can hear everything.
Look, go ahead. Tell him, Greg. Tell him. Explain to him.
Misty, How hard of a how much trouble have you had having experiences here? She's froze.
None. It's okay. I'll put it to you like this. It's, something's going to happen to the point where, just like with Mark, when Spencer and Greg took off and left to go to the store, Mark's like, I gotta go take a shit. I'll be back. And I was like, you better hurry up. As soon as you leave, I know what's going to happen.
And damn if it didn't. Damn if it didn't. You can hear it on the recording.
That's awesome.
Great.
Just tell us when.
Right off in front of me.
Well, you're getting me all excited.
I know. Let me put that on my calendar. What date?
We live to get
Was it
you
my
excited,
second or
Barbara.
third trip, Greg?
Yeah, I'm excited
After
now.
what happened the first time, whenever I pulled up,
I'll leave my
10 minutes.
open. Yeah.
Hey, that would be something, though. Think about this. Look, y'all. Sisters of the Moon at Greg's man cave.
Yeah.
That would be something right there, especially if you get squirrel wrapped up in the mix of it. I'll come down and stay with Greg.
We'll
And-
stay at my house.
Yeah.
Hey, Misty, tell them about when me and you and Kumbo walked out when me and Kumbo was leaving.
Oh, yeah. No, there was a big, we had already been hearing and seeing stuff. Caitlin's boyfriend, Hunter, got something through at him sitting on the banister. And we go out, and Kumbo's like, all right, I'm leaving. And, just like telling them bye. And so as soon as he kicks his lights on, there's just this big ass shadow just goes straight in front of the truck out towards the area where he keeps that big old gas tank off it from like the right to the left, back behind it. Yeah. Yep.
How long ago was it whenever Al saw one behind the gas tank?
That was Christmas Eve night. Christmas Eve at 9:30. Yeah, he saw it. The thing was standing behind the propane tank, and he walked up, gonna come in the door, and the thing growled at him, and Al looked over, and the thing was standing there staring at him. So we talking about a grade A sighting right here from the porch, 20, 25 feet.
Greg's helper for a long time, the younger kid, what's his name?
Bailey.
Saw one out there saw one right there at the man cave. Kumbo's property is 1 hour away.
He's about 50 miles.
And y'all, if you have been there, and I know we've talked about it a lot, but I cannot express this enough because it still really pisses me off. We were going out to dinner, and I'm telling you, Kumbo got out of the truck and said, this is the point. And he was showing us, like I wasn't even going to get out of the truck, but everybody else did. I was like, I guess we're stopping for a minute because we were going to dinner. That's a very big point right there. We were going to dinner. And they stopped.
And we didn't even take all the vehicles. We all piled up literally just in a couple, and we all left our equipment. We didn't even take anything back there with us.
None of us did because we didn't know what we were stopping for. And we got out, and Kumbo's like, oh, yeah, this is the point. And he goes, you reckon we ought to let them know we're here? And before anybody could answer, he did a yell. He did, okay, so if you know the 3-part call, he did the first part. And immediately, I don't think the thing even finished echoing before something yelled back from about 100 yards away. It was loud. There was no doubt what it was. It just went, whoa, like from 100 yards away. And I'm just standing there like, and Kumbo's like, oh, okay, there we go. And then I think it was Greg that was like, did you get that record? I was like, fuck no. Because all the recorders were in the truck. We didn't know anything was going to happen. That's how good of an area it is. And you should definitely set aside some time to go down there. Definitely.
We're both free as a bird.
Yeah.
No, you ain't. You're married.
We're still free as a bird to go camping.
Well, I'm trying to plan on going down here in probably the next 3 or 4 weeks. So,
Okay. Barbara, are you going to be back from New Mexico anytime soon?
Yeah. I'm supposed to be back this week.
Yeah, it is about 3 weeks. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
my daughter's expecting. She's supposed to. The due date is June the 8th, but we don't know if she's going to make it that far.
Ooh.
Hopefully she won't.
Yeah.
But just as soon as she's done making that baby, I'm ready.
Heck
Well,
yeah.
and we can talk backstage and arrange something. But anyway, ladies, thank you for coming on, telling all the stuff, y'all. They've got so much more. They don't even talk about the detail. They just go from like one event to the next event to the next event. They don't go into all the detail. You need to go back on YouTube.
People don't realize though, and they'll tell
sorry.
you just like anybody else that does this. Just like the supernatural stuff with me, you don't say nothing about it because a lot of times it's so regular and it's so often that stuff happens. It's just natural that when you hear stuff and you're just like, let me tell you about this. I forgot about. It's like you just don't think nothing about it. You're just telling a story.
Well, I had one story before. I got one more story I'll tell you.
All right.
And I didn't tell this to people for a long time. Debbie knew about it, but I just didn't. I wasn't in the habit of telling people the story because, like I said in the beginning, my thoughts on Bigfooting are way different than they are now. Excuse me.
She had some amazing stuff. And I had Yeah, this was at my home. And I took a piece of copy paper, and on one side of this copy paper, I drew a stick girl with pigtails. That was me. And then I drew a stick puppy dog and a stick kitty cat. And I had a pet rabbit. I had a stick bunny rabbit. I flipped the paper over to the other side. I draw a stick Bigfoot with the hair sticking out everywhere. Big hands, big feet, smiling. Well, I take my piece of paper out in my pasture. I had a bush out there that I laid it on the ground. Just laid it on the ground. Stick. Okay. Am I still here?
Yeah.
Start where you left off about you took the paper out to the backyard.
Okay. I took the paper out in my pasture and I laid it on the ground and I put a stick through it. I go inside. The next morning I go outside in my pasture to go look for my piece of paper, and it's not on the side of the bush that I put it at. It's on the other side of the bush with the Bigfoot side up and the stick through it.
What?
Now that totally freaked me out when I found that, because I was brand new into learning Bigfoot stuff. What the hell?
Wow.
And I wouldn't tell people about it because I thought they would think I was totally out of my mind. But that, honest to God, happened.
Have you already told them about the bunny rabbits? Has she told you about the bunny rabbits?
I don't think so.
No.
Tell them about, I don't know. Can you hear us good, Barbara?
Yeah. I had 3 headless bunny rabbits.
At 3 different times, though. But one time, 3 different times. But one time we were camping together, me and her, and I forget who I was with us. We were camping, and James sends her a picture while he's there by himself. He said, well, I guess they like me. They left me
one time. My husband was at home. Yeah. Yeah, he found one of them.
Yeah.
My internet is sucked.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but he sent her that picture while we're camping, Bigfooting. He said, I guess they like me too, because they left me a gift or whatever, and it was a headless bunny rabbit. Yeah, I was like, that is so freaking cool. I mean, I feel bad for the bunny rabbit.
Where did they leave the headless bunny rabbit?
Well,
where did they leave it?
One was just left right outside the bathroom window. One was left right by my patio, and then one was left by the tree in the backyard.
And talk about the deer legs.
I had a deer leg that was thrown up on top of my house. It was up there for a long time because everybody that came to my house, I asked them, did they throw that deer leg on my house? And nobody knew what the hell I was talking about.
everybody that came to my house, hey, did you throw that deer leg up on top of my house?
No doubt.
So, yeah. And then when I found out it might be a gift, I took it down and put it up. I have it put up in my storage somewhere. I still have that.
We're the only people. We're the only people in the world that say stuff like this. I got a deer leg up there.
Yes. Here's a random deer leg I found on top of my house. Let me pack this way.
There's something completely wrong with all of us.
Yeah. There's something wrong with all of us for sure.
Say, Barbara.
Keep that. I can talk about that one day.
Yeah. Well, say, Barbara, that like here, just a few days before we had the meet and greet at LBL.
That's right.
I mean, I saw a booger. I pulled up in my drive right here, and my headlights shined past my cabin. And there was a booger in my yard, and it took off running. But I saw it plain as day. And then just a few weeks before that, it was during a rainstorm, and something got on my roof and ran over top of the roof and down. It stopped over my recliner and stayed still, and then boom, 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 took off and went off the end of the house. So something got on my roof, and then I saw one just a week or so later.
So we need to set a day to come to your house.
Well, you know what?
I'm Debbie, I'm telling you, get the girl together.
I can talk stories with Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you can talk some stories with Greg.
Yeah, we definitely would like to camp there for sure. And Sandy could come up from Florida. That's not too far.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
We're going to make this happen.
Moving back to Georgia.
Oh, good.
We're going to make this happen. Sisters of the Moon at Greg's place.
No, you're going to have to throw in with Squirrel and Abby.
That's true.
Yeah, Sisters of the Moon and Squirrel and Abby at House's house.
No,
yes,
cave. But yeah, I mean, and like what y'all are doing, y'all's approach. That's what I mean. Them two right there. Everybody's been here. They'll tell you my main cardinal rule is come here and act like you don't know nothing's going on. No calling, no nothing. You don't have to. Yeah. Because I don't provoke them at all in any way. Nothing.
We don't either. No. The only time we ever do calls is if we've been there like a couple of days and nothing else at all has happened. We'll go off away from camp and we'll do some calls and then try to have them maybe follow us back. I mean, that time they're in not too across from the cemetery area up in Arkansas that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Before the night before we had anything happen, we went up to the top of the mountain and we sat up there and did some calls. We didn't get any callbacks. And then as we're coming down the mountain, I hung out the window and I did calls every so often, hoping they would think one of us, a Bigfoot was moving and running and doing calls. And it was that night later on after we got back to camps when we started having all that stuff happen. That sounded like the moos and the moans and all of that. And we found out 2 weeks later, after we got back from having all night long moans and stuff all around camp, in that cemetery area where Barbara and Sandy had initially wanted us to camp, I was on Facebook. And you know how Facebook knows exactly where you've been. And you're going to get news reports and all sorts of stuff from where you just got back from. So I got one pop up in my news feed, and it was Fort Smith, Arkansas. It was either Fort Smith or Fayetteville, Arkansas article. And it talks about this couple that was camping in a cemetery. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm reading it. And they had 2 big dogs. And now we had heard dogs barking all night long over there, and for a while at least. Anyway, this article is about this. The couple had been sitting out by their campfire, and they were having little pebbles and stuff thrown at them. And so they start getting a little scared. Well, the pebbles get more and more. So they take their dogs and they decide to go into their tent. When they get into their tent, it starts hitting the tent with pebbles and stuff. They get even more scared. So they send their 2 big dogs outside to scare them off. Those 2 dogs start yelping and hollering. And then big things start hitting their tent. So the couple gets really, really scared. They decide they're going to leave. They run out of the tent to go get in their car, and they see their dog's body parts laying all around. And they leave. They leave. And then at the bottom of that article, it gave a map showing the Mulberry River, and X marks the spot. And I was like, holy crap. I called Barbara and all of them. That was that weekend that we were there, that couple that was there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I've got questions about somebody who wants to go camp in a cemetery to start with.
Well, it's not exactly in a cemetery.
Yeah.
It was a hop and a skip from the cemetery.
Yeah.
I don't know though. My first real thing, and Debi Jones at that point, Debbie Porch, was there, and that was in a cemetery at Daniel Boone.
We were standing right by each other too.
Yes, and I thought they were just saying a cemetery to make you like creeped out, and I was like, no, that is not gonna work. And then all that stuff popped off, and holy crap, I've never looked at cemeteries the same way since then.
A lot of sightings have been by couples that go parking, and around cemeteries.
Wait, and the one that happened at Brown Springs, the really nasty one, with the guy that got killed and the woman that was, that was right at Brown Springs, which there was a cemetery there. So, just Yeah. And you grew up in that area, Debbie. God bless you.
No, I didn't grow up in Brown Springs area. I grew up in East Texas,
but close to it. Anyway, Red River area, same difference.
Yeah, other side of the Red River. Different state.
All right.
That way.
Texas.
It's that direction.
Texas. Because I fling Texas out like, it's just Texas. Like it's only the size of like Rhode Island. Texas. You grew up in Texas. You must be close to it. Anyway. All right. Y'all, we have been 2.5 hours. Go back and look up all the stuff from Sisters of the Moon. Damn, Barbara's froze up again right at the very end.
Oh, there she is. She's moving.
Bringing a Sony X camera with me. Bring it, Robbie. Bring it. I promise you, y'all, I cannot express this enough. There are certain places that we talk about. Greg's is one of them. LBL is one. Daniel Boone is one. There are certain places that we talk about. I'm telling you, the boogers are there. They're there. It's a matter of if you're there at the right time, right place, all that kind of stuff. The boogers are there. Before anybody says anything, go camp in these places. Go experience all this crap yourself. Then come back and talk to us about it. But anyway, bring whatever kind of equipment you want. Although I will say, if the batteries drain and the stuff doesn't work, that's something that they do. I've had that happen before. I've had it happen a couple times. But
I
anyway,
had a recorder completely not work. One sitting on the front porch, one on the back porch. No, they worked 100%. And luckily we put out more than one because I had one that had been out that I guess they didn't realize had been sitting there for days. That's the only one that caught anything. The other one, it quit completely.
Yeah.
Well,
still can't use it.
And also, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, wasn't the first time I ever met you and Daniel Boone?
Yeah.
And then he wanted to camp, and everybody was all over the place back then, and he was fixing to have to leave, and Larry and I took him up the hill down at the end, and we camped that night. That's cracked me up so much.
That's the night we got the recording of the branches breaking and the trees getting pushed over, and Larry's laughing and he's like, "It's great." And I'm like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" And then the car drove by at like right before sunrise, and we heard the knock right behind us. Me and Larry stayed up the whole night, and then I drove back home. But
Spencer had this little bitty, it was one of those like sleeping bags with the little bitty tent that goes up over it.
Yeah.
And we were up on the side of a hill, you know, down there, and we're just sitting there and listening to the tree crash. We'd been there a week, and we had a tree go down around camp every single night.
It was, I swear it was at least 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Over like 3 nights. It was crazy. That's the night where
you could hear the feet. You could hear the feet running.
Well, in the graveyard though, had branches broke, something growled, yelled. We had stuff thrown at us a few times. There was a hike that we went on where there was a rock in the middle of the trail when we were coming back, and a mud clump thrown. It was all kinds of crazy stuff, y'all.
And I think Eric found some prints too.
Yeah. Well, I know they definitely did calls, and we definitely got responses. And yeah, I think he did find
down in that creek.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, but quite a few of us have been to that place. Yeah, Greg.
Before we get going, some people was in here and saw it a while ago. Y'all keep praying for Christy, because look, hey, she's getting that gum fan of the month, because she's laid up in the ICU and is laying there watching us and in chat. So y'all, come on, she's in the hospital.
Oh, hey, we got some troopers. We got some troopers. Let me tell you, Judy and her and Gary. Yeah. Gary moderated from his hospital bed here not too long.
Yes, I know.
Unreal, y'all. Unreal. I mean, just big love to all of them.
Yeah, I get to feeling better.
Yes, all y'all. Yeah, they just great people. But hey, I do want to touch on this too. I've enjoyed. I like about an hour finishing up on part 4. But on Dixie Cryptid, he turned loose that Blood Eagle, which is DA's book that Cam's reading. It come out this weekend. Come out 2 parts. Maybe a part Friday. But anyway, all 4 parts are out right now. So y'all, it's all fiction, but man, it's awesome.
I did not. Well, I mean, guys, in this field, we now have people like DA and Cam doing like the fiction side of things. Come on, that is our type of entertainment right there.
Oh, it's so movie worthy. Oh my gosh.
Can you believe DA said there might be cameo appearances?
Oh my gosh. Maybe we'll get to Team Odin to come in and like rescue us or something.
Hey, I'd be good with that. With that.
Yeah,
I would be happy with they were laughing at watching a YouTube video from this stupid ass channel called Woodwalkers whenever they got the call to go out and save whoever.
Yes,
I'd be happy with that.
And hey, y'all, I don't know what's going on with DA, but they didn't have a show last night over the weekend because he was.
Yes, sick. I saw that. Well, Robbie's in chat. Robbie, is everything okay? Is everything okay, Robbie? Just making sure on you guys then. Anyway, he said if you guys only knew.
Man, that's what I do love. You know, he always posts like for the weekend. What's your drink of the choice or whatever for the weekend? I was channeling my inner hillbilly because Friday night I was drinking dill pickle juice and Wildcat whiskey.
Oh my God!
Oh, look, don't be knocking it to you.
Okay.
It's life changing.
He said one of them was just feeling a little bit under the weather. Good to know, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Good.
So we will see you this week then. Thank you.
It ain't gonna be long, y'all. We gotta get DA. DA's got to get better because we got to get him and Robbie on for after hours.
Yes, we need to do them on an after hour show. But anyway, I wish Barbara was here for the wrap up of everything.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for sticking it out with us through the whole thing. We did not scratch on 1/100th of what Sisters of the Moon has done. Did you see how I had to poke her and lead her into the detail? Because she doesn't talk about everything because she has had a lot of, they have had a lot of stuff happen and everything.
Yeah.
Debbie, tell Larry, thank you very much for letting you use his game console so that we can hear you. Appreciate that, Larry. Big of you, brother. But anyway, happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Yep.
Happy Mother's Day. Debbie, thank you for being on here during Mother's Day. And you got a grandbaby coming up soon, don't you?
Yeah, due date's June the 8th. I don't know if she'll make it that far, but anyway, I hope she has it sooner. I got a camp out plan that weekend.
Is this supposed to be a boy or a girl?
Boy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not picked out?
No, they're still going back and forth on the name. They have a little boy that's 3.5, and his name is Lane Thomas Williamson. And we call him Lane Thomas a lot. So they want something that flows like his does. But I think it'll be a surprise what the name is. So
How many people you know? Name him Yeti.
Yeti.
Yeah. I don't think that'd go over good with her.
Yeah. I don't blame her.
Hey, he'd be the only kid in school that had that name. I promise.
That's true. That's true. You might start a new trend.
Yep. Yeti.
Anyway, y'all, we're out of here.
Yep.
See you next weekend, pretty sure. Anyway, thank you very much.
Yep.
Happy Mother's Day. See you. Check out Sisters of the Moon. All the channels that we talk about. Chris with Discover Sasquatch, Mark and Green with Cedar Creek Bottoms Farmstead Life, whatever. Roger's channel, Squatch and Holler.
Yeah.
Check out Sawdust Beast, of course. Check out everybody. We need to get a list where it just rolls. There's too many people to talk about.
Yeah, and throw in Roger, or throw in for Roger. Hey, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel.
It's been. I almost put that at the end of the pictures. I was gonna have like a blank screen that just said, "Hey, Rachel." Don't ask, Debbie. Anyway,
Big love, everybody.
Good night, y'all. Love you. See you
Happy
next time.
Mother's Day.
Bye.
Bye.
Squirrel.
Hey, y'all. Hey, Spencer. We're swapped around again.
Huh?
We're swapped around again. Hold on.
Yep. I know you do it on purpose.